I make a podcast episode every single day for 365 days.
You will be hated for speaking the truth.
You definitely have like an X-ray goggles on, where you can see someone's aura.
A house divided against itself shall not stand. Matthew chapter 12, verse 25.
If you want to make something of yourself, forget your political beliefs.
Because different believers experience God in different ways, different non-believers need different explanations to see God as real. Things that make you angry suck you in.
Satan's plan fails, right? And God's plan prevails.
Whew. Wow, man. That was something crazy, man. For those of you who don't know, yesterday I recorded the very first episode of Season 2, which is the new era, new content coming out, new types of things that I'm trying to get out for you guys to make better content, to try and get this show to the next level. Season 2 of the 365 podcast started with me interviewing my good friend Michael. And, man, if I tell you that was horrible, man. Because the interview was fine, but the editing process was absolutely terrible. I said that it would come out at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I got to 9 p.m. I was like, dude, I am going to take so long to get this thing out. I only just barely got it out before midnight, so you probably haven't seen it yet. So if you're watching this video, I recommend that you go watch that podcast because it was a super good episode, very good discussion, and I think it was pretty engaging. But obviously, you be the judge of that by going and checking it out. I'd really appreciate it. I'll leave it in the cards and everything there to make it as easy as possible. When you're done watching this one, you can go check out that one. This one will be a much shorter episode because I'm just kind of breaking it down. Like this is why Michael is only the second guy I've ever had on. Because, dude, like you talk to a guy and it's going to be more than an hour, more than 2 hours. Obviously, like it was like a 6-hour process to fully come, record, and then the editing and then uploading process. It took over 6 hours. It took over 3 hours for me to edit it alone, which is like, that's why I don't do it every single day. That's why sometimes I have shorter episodes like today, because when I make 365 podcasts, I'm making an episode every day for a year, right? So like I'm not trying to like completely destroy myself having like a 5 to 6 hour job to do every single day, especially when I got other things going on. Especially that, like when I was doing my door-to-door sales, the episodes were notoriously shorter on average because I would literally not have time. I'd get home at like 10 p.m. every day. So like that would be when I would record and when I would post and when I would do all that. So that became very overwhelming very quickly to kind of try and balance all that. So that's why I'm trying to get more guests on, and I will get more guests on, absolutely. But it's not going to be like a daily thing. It's going to be like I'm going to try and find that balance between like having a longer episode and needs must. You got to go and you got to take a lot of time to edit it, which is what I did yesterday. And of course, then, balancing it with shorter episodes, maybe more reflection-based episodes, just to give you guys a little bit of tidbits like today. Today's episode will be kind of something like that. And I got the green screen this time behind me, the same thing with like the red stage. Before, in the episode with Michael, I decided to take it down because I think I'm going to try and alternate the green screen, like sometimes have it up, sometimes have it down. I'm going to still make a decision based on that because I don't like how sometimes the green screen cuts parts of my body off sometimes, or it's like not fully good. Like you can see parts of the green screen if I don't put the right setting in. Especially when it's like a longer podcast like that, I want it to kind of be like real. So that's why I took it down for the episode yesterday. But today I'm bringing it back up. I'll figure that out. But I think things to expect for season 2. You kind of already got a sneak peek. There's going to be a lot more like longer episodes, a lot more like individual people that I'm going to be getting on, friends that I know of, and if possible, maybe like just other people, other creators, other people in the space. If possible, we'll see what we can do, right? We'll see what we can organize. And we're going to be, talking a lot about a lot of similar concepts, but I'm going to try and make some more fun things. We're going to incorporate some games. Like at the very end of the episode with Michael, we played a very fun game. I'm going to clip that and I'm going to post that as a clip on my YouTube channel, so stay tuned for that as well. But yeah, you should expect more fun, but also a lot of kind of similar stuff, like me talking about my faith, my belief in God, and me trying to preach the words of the gospel in the best way I can, but also trying to get perspectives of other people and having debates and having conversations and just getting deep and introspective on things, and other times just having some good plain old-fashioned fun. I have a beautiful, I think, what I think is a very like cool intro that I've made, and it's funny. For me, it's funny because I just made it, and it's like imagine if this podcast actually grows into something like that ends up being like, my intro, right? My intro is like me, and like I have a voice, and it's like it kind of makes me feel like I have a bigger voice. The fact that I have an intro, but obviously I made the intro, and I took clips from my own episodes, but I have already a couple of good ideas as to what I'm going to be doing going forward with the show to make season 2 as good as it can possibly be. And I also have plans for this week in my life. Like in my life, this week so far has been a very good week for me personally. I want to make sure the rest of the week is as good as it can possibly be. At the beginning of the week, and I'll just kind of tell this little story. At the beginning of the week, I was like, for some reason, I was like, man, I'm feeling good about this week. There are already a couple of things lined up. I'm feeling very good that this week's going to be a very good week. Because if you guys don't know, last week and the week before were kind of like depressing and slow weeks, let's say. Where like I was still trying to figure out a lot of things in my life. You can probably see it in some of the episodes that I posted in those last couple weeks that maybe I was running out of some idea, like I was starting to run out of ideas. I was starting to just kind of repeat myself over and over again. And when it comes to the same issues that I'm dealing with, trying to figure out what my future is, where I'm going to go going forward, I think having gone through those last couple weeks, I was very confident in the beginning of this week that this week would be basically like, one of the best weeks of the year. And I think that's what I'm trying to do, trying to make this week the best week, at least of this half of the year. And if I can do that, there's obviously still 3 full days left of the week. There's still plenty of time to do that. Then that can be very positive. It could be a springboard for me going forward, just in terms of like my confidence, in terms of like what I'm dealing with personally in my life. So I'm trying to make the week better, but of course I'm also trying to make the content better. I'm trying to just kind of improve in many ways that I can in my own life, and then hopefully it can reflect itself in the actual content, in the quality of these videos that I'm making, in the quality of these podcast episodes. And for season 2, that's exactly what I'm going to be trying to doing. Just improving. Just trying to make it as good as possible. And, have some unique ideas, do some fun things, go a little bit deeper on certain things. And just keep things engaging, keep things good, and keep things memorable for you guys, the viewers, to watch. I appreciate you. If you're still here, if you're still supporting, if you're excited for season 2, let me know. Leave a like and show your support, as always, by subscribing and following on Spotify. It really helps the channel's growth. I'm trying to grow the channel. I'm trying to grow it into maybe something more than 1,000 subscribers. That's going to be the goal for the end of this show, because I'm not expecting much more, because I understand that the algorithms kind of suck and I'm taking the hard route. I understand it would be easy if I just like started to be controversial and was being angry about certain things. It'd be easy to get big, but I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be focusing on doing what brings me joy and talking about what brings me joy. And to be angry and to be controversial isn't necessarily that. Sometimes it is, and maybe in the episode yesterday there was a few moments like that, but very rare. I think it's a much lower percentage of my content. I like to spread the Christian values of unity and love and compassion and forgiveness, right? That's what I try and spread. Sometimes, with varying levels of success. Sometimes I do well. Sometimes I misrepresent what God wants for me. But I guess that's what I'm going through on this show, and that's what the journey of this show is going to be. So I have the things I'm dealing with in my own life. I'm trying to make this week as good as I can possibly make it. So that's obviously going to show in the content that I'm making. Obviously, this episode is going to be shorter, but I'm going to try and post clips from the episode yesterday. Again, I encourage you to go watch it. I'm pretty much done. Like with this episode, I'm done with all I need to say. I'm just kind of reflecting on it. Like, I think I enjoyed it, but the editing process was horrible. And it's the exact reason why I don't do it every single day. Like, I don't do a 2-hour long podcast every single day, because that would be so ridiculously hard to get done. And obviously it's already like a little bit of a grind. Like, it already takes 2 to 3 hours to do the full episodes most days anyway. So imagine if we were just recording for that time, and then I have to like double that time because of the editing. So it's like, ideally the shows have no cuts and no edits in between. But yesterday I had to make a lot of them, because just to kind of improve the flow of it, because Michael's first time on camera. For him, he was a little bit nervous. He messed up a couple times. So I had to kind of cut some things out, and that's why it took a long time. But usually I like to have it just flow the whole way through, and that's what it's going to be for this episode, and that's what it's going to be going forward. Yeah, I think the goals just continue to improve. Like, I think already, if you were to compare this episode and the quality that's there in comparison to the very first episode of this show, it's night and day, really. It's night and day. And I think if I continue to improve it, continue to do better in myself, do better in my own life, and have those improvements show in the quality of the content, I think all it does is benefit you, the viewer, watching this, and it only gives you more entertaining stuff. I want to keep spreading the right message, so it's giving you the right positive message when it comes to life and how to navigate things. I'm trying my best myself. I'm 20 years old. I'm still learning and growing, and of course I'll make mistakes along the way. Of course I've already made a lot of mistakes along the way. But we're not even halfway done the show. So strap in, man. Buckle up, because it's going to be very fun, man. I'm going to have a good time, and I hope that you guys have a good time as well when it comes to season 2 of the 365 podcast. And one more thing that I want to mention, man, is that really you can probably say that I am actually an official podcaster now. Because actually there's a quote from Chris Williamson. He was talking, I think it was on Joe Rogan or something like that, where he said that really you need to make 150 episodes before you can say that you're a podcaster. And well, I'm definitely past that. This is episode 151. So for whatever it's worth, you can say that now I'm more into it. And I actually have now gone through the first 150 episodes of just kind of finding my feed, figuring out what I want to talk about, figuring out different ideas and stuff. And now I have a springboard to kind of just continue to improve and grow. And now you can call me maybe an official podcaster because I put that amount of time in. Even if I'm not that popular, even if not a lot of people watch these videos, I think it's still worth it because, again, the reason I started the show is so that I can prove that I can stay consistent with something for a whole year without missing a day. And despite some crazy days in there, I still technically officially have not missed a day. Even if sometimes I had to make an episode that was only a minute long or a few minutes long. Like on my football trial as well, big example of that. But I think that's part of the reason why I'm doing this, and that's why I keep doing it despite only getting 10 views a video and despite not getting a lot of traction. I encourage you guys to go and watch the longer episode with Michael. I think it was a very good conversation. We talked about a lot of very good things, some a little bit controversial, but I think a lot of it is very good in terms of finding truth, figuring out what you want in your life, like some good messages. I think it really was a good positive message, I think, overall when it comes to life in general, and the important values that you should be trying to strive towards in your life. So I really do think it was a good episode when it comes to influence and that right message. And that's what I'm trying to do as well, to spread that right message and to stay consistent with it all. So as now I'm technically an official podcaster, I kind of now just leave you off. As always, like the video, subscribe on YouTube, and follow on Spotify. It helps out the show if you haven't yet. And when you're done this episode, go check out the podcast I did yesterday with my friend Michael. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you if you are still watching this episode. It's a shorter one today, but don't worry. In the future, there's going to be a lot more fun stuff going forward for the future of this show. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this episode, and I will see you tomorrow for the next one.